begin to discuss yoga, we must discuss our identity. This is the beginning of all knowledge of life. It's the foundation of all knowledge. When you build a house, you must build the foundation first, and it must be a good foundation. You can't build the roof first. You can't build the walls. You can't build the interior. You must have the foundation. And this is the most important part of the whole house. So, in yoga, the foundation is the knowledge of our identity. And the Vedas, being the source of yogic knowledge, say that we should all ask ourselves the question, who am I? But unfortunately, we almost never ask this question. And the reason is we think we already know the answer. Now, of course, we all have our identities. We've had them our whole life. We've got them in our minds. We have them on our lips. We even have them in our pockets. Meaning, this is who I think I am. This is who I tell others I am. And I even prove it with my passport, my documents. We accept this, and so does everyone else. But is this our true identity? And upon close examination, we find this is only a compilation of many labels. And the labeling process begins at birth. So all of us here now, as soon as we took birth, received one of two labels, male or female. And we still identify like that today. I'm a man or I'm a woman. At the same time, we get another label according to our race, Caucasian, Negroid, whatever it may be. Our national identity can be very strong. I am Norwegian, I am American. And our family identity, we belong to this family. And this identity is so strong that every day on this planet, one person kills another person simply because they have a different label. And this is just the beginning. Many, many labels come and go throughout our entire life. So, once again at birth, we're also known as babies, then kids. We start school, now we're students. A few more years go by and we become teenagers, and finally adults. We take up some profession in life and we're known accordingly. Doctors, lawyers, secretaries, nurses. Then we get married. Immediately we become a husband or a wife. We have a child. Now we're parents, fathers, mothers. A few more years go by, grandfathers, grandmothers. And this is how we see ourselves. When we think of ourselves, this is me. This is who I am. And this continues on and on until we finally get the last label, dead. But if we look closely, we find this is all in relation to our material bodies. It's true the body is male or female, black or white, old or young, big or little. Whatever the body is, it is. That's true. The question is this who we are? Every day we all take our pilgrimage to the mirror to see how we look. Sometimes we're a little disappointed, but we always come back the next day. Gee, maybe there'll be some improvement, you see. But do we really see ourselves? So the question is, am I this material body? Now, if we want the most authoritative answer, we should go to the revealed scriptures of the world. And there we will learn, no, you're not the material body. But this is the modern world, so very rare does anyone go to scripture to find the truth in life. However, we do readily accept the conclusion of the scientist. You see, we like the scientists because they prove things. And uniquely enough, in this case, the scientists have proven in their laboratories that we're not our material bodies. They have discovered there's no cell in the human body that lives more than 5 years. And some cells have a very short life. For instance, the lining of our stomachs. Those cells live 5 days. Our skin cells, 1 month. Liver cells, 6 weeks, etc. But in 5 years, everything has changed. So if I look at a photograph of myself taken 10 years ago, the eyes in the photograph are different than the eyes I'm looking at the photograph with. They're not the same eyes. According to this scientific formula, if I'm 35 years old, I've had 7 bodies. But, of course, we all know we're not 7 different people. Everybody knows I'm still me. So the changing factor is the material body, and the constant factor is ourself. Yeah, we're not these material bodies. Now, at this point, some people become meditative or introspective. They begin to look inside to find out who they really are. And when we do look inside, what do we find? Well, there's emotion, desire, sentiment, feeling, will. These are all very real. And it's easy to conclude, aha, this is who I really am. Maybe we even have an experience to reinforce this. Let's say we're very emotionally upset. We recognize that when people look at us, they don't see us. All they see is the outside cover. And we might feel very lonely. Sometimes we even say, gee, nobody really knows me. But we must confirm this with Scripture, and especially the Vedic Scriptures, because they're very detailed in this knowledge. And when we do, we find we've made another mistake. This is not who we are either. This is actually another material body. It's called the subtle mental body. Sometimes it's called the astral body. I'm sure some of you have heard of the astral body. So really we have two bodies. We've got our physical body and our mental body. It's like having on two layers of clothing, an outer layer and an underlayer. But the question remains, who am I? So once again, we go to the Vedas. And there we find that we are in a different category of energy. Everything is energy. And our bodies are material energy. But we learn that we are spiritual energy. We further learn we're a tiny little spark of spiritual energy. We learn that material energy is temporary. And that's very easy to see. We know all too well that our bodies are very temporary. So much so we don't even want to talk about it. Hey, don't talk about that. See? But even the more permanent things like this building. Come back in 1,000 years. Gee, where was that lecture again? See? Temporary. But we learned that spirit is eternal. Eternal means no beginning and no end. So we are eternal. We also learned that material energy is non-living. And again, that's easy to see. This table or this microphone is no life. But we learned that spirit is life itself. There's no such thing as live matter. There's no such thing as dead spirit. We are the life force in the body. And as long as we're present in the body is called alive. But actually that's not true. The body's dead. We are alive. And that becomes very obvious at the time of death. At the time of death, we leave the body. And at that moment, the body reveals its true nature. Can't even sit in a chair. It falls on the floor. See? Yeah, we're the life force in the body. Therefore, our true identity is spirit-soul. Spirit meaning that we're spiritual in essence. And soul meaning the individual spiritual spark that we eternally are. We never become someone else, and we never cease to exist. Now, for some people, this is very depressing news. What? I'll always be me? Gee, thought it'd be over soon. Sorry, it's never over. But when we learn the truth in life, this becomes very wonderful news. So once again, we are spirit soul. We further learn that we're a part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. There is a Supreme Soul from which we all come. We are known as the Atma. The Supreme Soul is the Paramatma. Now, understanding our true identity, then we can discuss and understand yoga in the truest sense.